From the nation's capital, the Public Enlightenment Show, an unrehearsed, hastily assembled program enlightening the public by providing the context we need to understand the news. Now here's your host, Brian Hansberry.
You can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to... There's a time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart, that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all.
Unless you are free, the machine will be prevented from working at all. Unless you are free, the machine will be prevented from working at all.
Captain America, Brave New World.
Watch this.
Friends, the time has come for us to rage against the machine, to rage against the machines that are in our pockets, that are in our homes, that are in our hands for hours every day, and that are being used to wage an information war against us. That's right. That was incredible, that graphic. An information war is being waged against us at all times. It has been going on for years. It is characterized here in this piece in Dame magazine by Carl Bode as a right-wing propaganda problem that might be terminal. It is a global authoritarian information war problem that is terminal. America's descent into mass delusion isn't happenstance. The demise of courageous journalism isn't a happy accident. Its replacement with engagement-chasing infotainment and propaganda isn't an error. It's a global assault on reason and informed consensus, and corporations and authoritarian bullies like Donald Trump are both architects and benefactors. For decades, academics warned anybody who'd listen that the death of your local newspaper and broadcast consolidation was creating news deserts, where residents have no access to reliable, accurate local news. Stanford researchers have shown that this dearth of quality local news has resulted in a less informed and more divided electorate, empowered local corruption, and measurably shifted electoral outcomes. A recent study of Northwestern University found that Trump won 91% of news desert counties by an average of 54 percentage points. And in that vacuum, it is no wonder, because all of us hold on to devices and interact with them every single day that are owned by the oligarchs and global authoritarians. When you own the means of mass communication, you are able to deliver your message however you want, 24/7, directly into the brains of every single person on the planet. And we are not a smart animal. We are not an animal who has built up a resistance in only 20 years of the internet's existence on a scale where we have social media. We are not smart enough. We are not equipped to handle it. And so in this vacuum, an information war is being waged against us. We like to be shocked all the time. Everyone in this country who's not MAGA likes to be shocked all the time when Donald Trump is elected, when he was elected in 2016, when he was elected in 2024. We were all shocked again and again and again. The reason we are shocked is because we are actually combatants in the information war, and we're not battling at all. Troll farms, bots, the Daily Wire, the Daily Caller, Donald Trump, Rupert Murdoch, Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, Steve Bannon, Christopher Rufo. These are the generals who are marshaling forces against us 24/7, 365. It is an information war that is winning, that is on a scale of global proportions, that is on a scale of World War II proportions. Elon Musk just convinced people to commit violence in England. Vladimir Putin attempted an information war in Ukraine. He got Paul Manafort, eventually Donald Trump's campaign manager, to install Viktor Yanukovych with a propaganda campaign to get him elected president in Ukraine. Then the Ukrainian people figured it out. The information war didn't happen. They usurped Viktor Yanukovych. And then only a few years later, Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine because he preferred the unheard of, unspoken war of an information war, but without enough equipment, without enough generals, without having to force his soldiers, and then now having to get soldiers from North Korea without having the resources. He said, well, my information war in Ukraine has not worked. Guess where it is working? Right here in America.
Dana, we are waging a 21st century information warfare campaign against the left, and they are using tactics from the 1990s. They are holding tiny press conferences, tiny little rallies. They're screaming into the ether on MSNBC. This is what you call top-down command and control. You get your talking points from a newspaper, and you put it on the broadcast network, and then it disappears. What you're seeing on the right is asymmetrical. It's like grassroots guerrilla warfare. Someone says something on social media, Musk retweets it, Rogan podcasts it, Fox broadcasts it, and by the time it reaches everybody, millions of people have seen it. It's free money. And we're actually talking about expressing information. They are suppressing information. If you watch CBS News, they don't even talk about the scandals that the money is going to. Sri Lankan transgenders are getting electric cars. It's costing millions of dollars. They don't tell you about that. We tell you about it. It's colorful, it's witty, it's interesting, and it goes viral. That's the difference. They are late to the game, and there's no way they're catching.
Okay, so whatever the hell he's talking about with the Sri Lankan thing being witty and viral, and, you know, it's a propaganda network, right? And he pulled the mask off, right? The Wizard of Oz pulled the mask off a little bit here. Meanwhile, every single day, Fox News is blasting propaganda into the brains of your fellow Americans. We act shocked at the results and the outcomes in this country. We act shocked when Donald Trump actually does start doing Project 2025. We act shocked when our fellow Americans are cheering for the destruction of their country. But that is because they all have phones and we all have algorithms. And if you lean even just the littlest bit right, you very quickly find yourself constantly exposed to a information war. You are constantly being shot in your brain with weaponized information.
See the economy absolutely explode, and people will once again be able to take out new loans and start new businesses and all the wonderful things that follow when they have more of their own money.
Viewer who reached out to me. She's in Cape Coral, Florida. And she says, Harris, could the government give all the taxpayers a refund from the money they're finding that went to places it never should have gone?
Yeah, Yes, that is the next step, and that is the next natural step. When you are finding all of this money, when you are taking it back, when you are cutting off future streams of funding, give that back to the American people. Then you will see the economy absolutely explode.
These are the narratives that are running into the brains of your fellow Americans constantly.
12 years old. Dietary interventions don't wait. It says do not wait to see if dietary interventions work. Ozempic.
That's also not true. The American Academy of Pediatrics specifically recommends that pharmacotherapy may be used in children with obesity.
This guy's debunking it, but I'm showing you, it'll repeat what's happening on like places like Joe Rogan, which Jesse Waters just mentioned, is how the disinformation, how the information war is waged upon us.
As an adjunct to health and behavior lifestyle treatment. And that treatment includes a focus on increasing healthful food consumption, participating in physical activity, and enjoyment for self-care reasons. If you want to tear down the medical industry and replace it with something new, you probably should understand what the medical industry is recommending right now, and not just pretend that the experts are treating obesity as a non-issue, when they definitely are. These guidelines are free to read, but I think their strategy here is to overload the audience, including Joe Rogan, with information that sounds good so that they don't actually ever check it for themselves.
I disagree right there. Joe Rogan is obviously on board with being a general, a lieutenant in the information war against all of us.
The American Diabetes Association says that if you have diabetes, you don't need to worry about your sugar intake. They say it's not tied to food.
What? No, they don't. They tell you to avoid foods with added sugar.
This is what bros have been mainlining for the last several years. We know that young men and young people in general had an unnatural shift to the right. There's always going to be people on the left and the right, but what happens is the results of an information war that is being waged and no one is fighting back against it. We can't rely on just the news to tell us about it, or the corporate commercialized system for informing the public to expose or somehow treat us to so much healthy information that we will somehow overcome. And by sitting on our hands as we are in the trenches of an information war, somehow achieve victory. This is the kind of thing that people are seeing 24/7, 365. And then you hear about people on the news who are interviewed, who are cheering on Doge. You see accounts on social media that are stitched on TikTok where someone is saying, you know, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened. I don't know why liberals are crying and so upset. They literally cannot conceive that there is anything wrong with what's happening because they are being fed weaponized information. They are self-immolating. They are taking the drone that is hunting them down and sticking it directly in front of their faces in the information war, and they are getting shot in the face over and over and over and over again with disinformation, propaganda, and manipulation.
In terms of cutting waste and increasing accountability and transparency for the American people. I believe that this DOGE program in my adult life is one of the most important audits of government or changes to government structure we have seen. That when I was in my 20s, we had the Grace Report, and there's some great suggestions that came out of that, never implemented. Under Clinton and Gore, I think it was to government efficiency or reduce government. Nothing happened. So President Trump came in, there's a big agenda, and I think that there are gigantic cost savings for the American people here. And I think it's unfortunate the way the media wants to lampoon what is going on. These are highly trained professionals. This is not some roving band going around doing things. This is methodical.
It is absolutely a roving band going around doing things. 19-year-old Edward Korestein has been discovered to have been in Kiwi Farms groups. Kiwi Farms is a group online akin to a 4chan type group that tries to get people to kill themselves by harassing them until they commit self-harm. Edward Korstein has created websites with the where the address is the N-word, where the address is about a reference to sexually assaulting women. He's 19 years old. He has access to our most sensitive data. When you want to find fraud, you hire forensic accountants. You do not hire young 4chan denizens and white supremacists and eugenicists. So this guy is just a liar in a suit, a white man lying to everyone who, follows this account, Mindset of Truth, which has 550,000 followers. You can see the comments here. It's decades overdue. It's the most important audit in the lives of taxpayers. I agree. One of the main reasons why they were so desperately trying to keep Trump out. This is what everyone is being inundated with, weaponized information. It is a prolonged effort to destroy trust. He just said that the media is the problem. They're covering it, and he referred to them as lampooning what's going on. The number one rule of the Public Enlightenment Show is that when you are finding yourself seeing someone in a position of power attacking journalists, Donald Trump calls journalists the enemy of the people. Elon Musk, my chat isn't open. My chat isn't open. Hold on one second. I have to find out what you're saying to me. Say that one more time. I'm so sorry because I can't really see. The screen's so small. Let me get out of studio mode for a second. Nope, still too small. Boom, 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 boom. Type it one more time, please. Okay, let me go back into studio mode. What website? What website is this? This is from Instagram, Big Nick. Yo, Big Nick. Yes, dude. Hello. This is my real voice. But so what you are seeing, so this is from Instagram. This is this account. So, I find myself following these accounts and then very quickly I see the other side of the algorithm. So we are in an information war. It is being waged at all times against us, and it has been wildly successful. Currently, the United States has flipped almost overnight to be an ally of Vladimir Putin, ready to end a war of aggression that war criminal Vladimir Putin started. International terrorist Vladimir Putin has essentially won a war against the United States over a 10-year period with disinformation using the internet. That is what is happening. When you see these people, I had one other guy. He's really, he's next level. Wait. We got to find this other guy. When you see these people, we should start to see them as covered in war. What information can be provided to young men to make them less conservative? Big Nick. I can't wait to talk to you about that. I just want to show you this. When we see this guy, because what's happened is they've convinced so many people that now the war is, they've turned the enemy army, a third of them, to their side, unwittingly. Check this guy out.
That the $40 billion that Doge has collected will now be going back into the hands of the American people. That's right. If you paid taxes last year, you're entitled to an even split of $40 billion. That's how my president is giving back to the American people. We're taking the money that our federal government was going to spend on bullshit and putting it back into the hands of American people. Trump 2025, baby. Donald Trump just announced that
Now, what's amazing about that is, wait, hold on. I'm doing the math. So apparently there are, the music there is amazing because it is sad. There are apparently something like 240 million Americans who are over the age of 18. So I'm going to take 240 million and divide it by 40. Wait a second. Oh no, that's 240 million, 40 billion. Anyway, that comes out to something like $5 for all of us. Or is it $5,000? I'm not sure. Either way, it's a lie. And it's not worth the destruction of your entire government. Right? So, Big Nick, what information can be provided to young men to make them less conservative? So this is where this whole thing that I'm on is headed towards. It's not even just about young men. We all have to decide that we care that we are in the middle of a hot war. And we all have to decide that in the face of basically storming the beaches of Normandy, this impossible uphill battle that is a failed mission to start is worth the fight. And so we all have to, thank you, $160 per person. So what we all have to do is care about our information and our sources of information. We have to care that there is a hot information war happening around us at all times. We have to stand up for truth and reality. It is the only thing that will sustain democracy. There has been a concerted attack by Donald Trump and Elon Musk on journalists, which is what I was getting at before. And when you say that the journalists are the enemy of the people, that is what every dictator throughout history has said, so that people do not pay attention when journalists report on the corruption and betrayal of the dictator. It is the most obvious trick in the book. And democracy relies on institutions.
The key issue is that democracy is based on trust, whereas dictatorship is based on terror. If you systematically destroy trust in institutions, destroy trust in the media, in academia, in the courts, and so forth, some people think that this is liberating the people from these institutions. Right. It's not. When you destroy all trust, the only thing that can still work is a dictatorship. Right. So this is what would-be dictators do. They systematically destroy trust. And the other thing to realize is that the vast majority of information is not truth. A key misconception, especially in places like Silicon Valley, is to equate information with truth. Most information is junk. I mean, the truth is a very rare and costly and precious sub-kind of information. Because, to write a truthful story, you need to invest a lot of time and effort and money in research and fact-checking, whereas fiction is very, very cheap.
Fiction is very, very cheap. So what do we have to do besides take to the streets? We have to engage with everyone we know. We have to talk about information and the quality of it. We have to boost quality information. We have to, as impossible as it seems, we have to storm the beaches of Normandy by communicating back to the algorithms that we engage with every single day that we want healthy information. And we know we're going to do that in the face of the reality that the people who run our methods of mass communication, the people like Elon Musk, have the ability and have used the ability to alter those algorithms to push more hate and disinformation and xenophobia and erode trust in institutions. Elon Musk daily pumps out to his 217 million followers disinformation, anti-Semitism, racism, xenophobia, and yet people cheer. And so we have to confront the people who are cheering. We have to open our arms to the people who are cheering. We have to point out to them the betrayal that is happening, but we have to start with ourselves. We have to stop amusing ourselves to death. We have to make healthier choices, and that's hard. That's hard when we have children to raise, when we have elder parents to take care of, when we have jobs to attend to. But what's way harder than that is the eventual civil wars, the eventual migration crises that these small groups of people, these oligarchs and global authoritarians cause. We have to fight back against them. That means that we spread healthy information as much as we can. We subscribe to fact-based pro-democracy sources of information. We listen to media critics. We listen to experts. We listen to scientists, and we spread their healthy, truthful information far and wide. We share books with our friends and neighbors. We don't shy away from the conversation when it is necessary to be had in the face of people who have clearly allowed themselves to be deluded. And I say allowed themselves with total empathy, because these are people who have been attacked. These are people who have been manipulated. These are people whose natural way of being and thinking has been used against them to then be used against their fellow citizens, their fellow human beings. And so we need to deeply care. That is the first thing that has to happen. And we need to be deeply aware that we are in an information war. We need to understand that our phone has the ability to be reprogrammed by us, to be turned back around against the oligarchs, against the global authoritarians. We can use our phones to be our own media, to spread truth, because we have more of us on our side than they have the ability to manipulate everyone. We are currently in the stage in America where we still have the rights and protections that we have always had in order to speak our minds. And we need to use that as much as we possibly can. Yes, a conspiracy theorist and a extremist has become the head of our FBI, and he can be weaponized against all of us at any time. But while we still can, we have to fight. Why do I think Trump won a second time? Trump won a second time because of information and because of a successful campaign in the information war. Trump won a second time because support for Donald Trump increased as news consumption decreased. If you paid attention to political news a great deal, you were more likely to vote for Harris. If you paid attention to political news a lot, you were more likely to vote for Harris. If you knew basic facts about the world, you were more likely to vote for Harris. If you knew that violent crime rates were at a near all-time high, if you knew that they were at a near all-time low, you were more likely to vote for Harris. If you knew that inflation had declined over the last year, you were more likely to vote for Harris. If you knew that over the last few months prior to November 2024, that unauthorized border crossings were at or near the lowest level in the last few years, you were overwhelmingly more likely to vote for Harris. So information is what leads to these outcomes. A lack of quality, healthy, fact-based information, a lack of knowledge about the world. Let's go back to the reality that in news deserts, Donald Trump won 90% of those counties by a massive amount. That's because in a vacuum where there is no news, there are phones. And there are guys like this talking to other guys with phones.
Dollars that Doge has collected will now be going back into the hands of the American people. That's right. If you paid taxes last year, you're entitled to an even split of $40 billion.
He's so happy about it. Now we know that. Oh, damn. Oh, I forgot to transition. That was really dope. And then we forgot to transition, but I think you heard the audio. Anyway. That was so good. I crushed that. But so what else do we do to fight back, right? So we are in an information war. We understand that a lack of information is filled with, that vacuum is filled by disinformers who speak to the rest of our fellow Americans, the rest of our fellow global citizens on their phones. And you could say, oh, well, Brian, like people can go find the news on their phone, like a news desert. Like, so what? They don't get a local newspaper, but local newspapers do have a lot to say about democracy. Where local news is strong, there's more voting, there's more attention paid to you by your government officials. There's less fraud, waste, and corruption. People are more informed where there's strong local news. What's the best information you've collected to make this point? I don't know, Nick. I guess I'm in the process of that. I guess I'm doing that right now. I don't know. You can go to publicenlightenment.com and read all the stuff that I've written so far. You can go to mediaanddemocracyproject.org and click on the blog and read a bunch of the articles that I and my compatriots have put together. But, you know, there are disinformation researchers. There are people who have written about the information war. And, you know, my job, my role here, what I plan to do here continuously is to try to expose people to healthy information and context as much as possible. But, you know, the world is like so upturned right now and things are so bad that, you know, I really want to keep talking about this information war over and over again. And just in case you weren't here, you also have to make things entertaining in this day and age. So when we talk about the information war, we do it like this. They're coming for our brains. The bald eagle is carrying our brains, and Elon Musk and Vladimir Putin are attacking them with our phones. I've never done anything better than staying up late all last night making that segment graphic. So we have to resist. I'm going to keep writing about the information war. I'll have more cogently assembled points about the information war moving forward. But we have to resist. We have to provide context, and we have to fight for the truth, just as this guy said earlier. So we also have to fight in the streets. We have to show resistance. So this place was originally, well, there's like a million things here. This is incredible. So buildtheresistance.org. We need to, one piece of information is human beings in the streets. That's a way of communicating to the people who have been victimized and who have been turned in the information war. One way to push back against that is guerrilla messaging, and another way to push back against that is with your human body in the streets. You know, right now you have all these social media accounts that are boosted by the global authoritarian right-wing oligarch algorithm that are telling people that everything is amazing. They're saying, why are the liberals taking to the streets? Why are the people who are not us basically taking to the streets? But once those numbers begin to grow, and once inflation rises, and once the jobs report comes out in April and it's terrible because 100,000 federal workers have been fired, right? Once, you know, all of these things that are happening right now start to destroy our national parks, start to destroy our water and our lakes and our rivers. I don't think the angry young men are ready for information. They only have Trump putting them in uniforms. Now, I hear you on that, Nick, but I also think that, you know, the one thing that I have learned that works against authoritarians is a sense of betrayal. And I think that the more hurt people become by these actions, the more they may, you know, have a second thought. You know, there's still a majority of Americans who are not on board the Trump train. And, Vladimir Putin has not fully succeeded, although he's pretty damn close, right? We're going to get into some information about that later, about what's happening with Pete Hegseth and what's happening about giving more and more gifts to Vladimir Putin because, look, we are his biggest enemy and he has essentially installed his apparatchiks in our government. And he has a third of our nation rooting for that. That's what's happening. But I think we have to still have hope. And I don't think that that's really the case. I think that America is a weird and interesting place where, there's certain things that people don't abide. And no matter how hard they are attacked by a disinformation campaign. But we're going to do lots of stuff on this channel. We're going to watch documentaries about disinformation. We are going to expose the plans and actions of these people over the last 60 years in America and of, Vladimir Putin and foreign leaders over the last decade, at least, right? And that all seems hard in the face of people like this guy, who is a Republican freshman congressman in Alaska, who has his federal worker constituents who have been fired, who have moved to Alaska for jobs, saying, what are you going to do, right? And people are starting to get angry. More and more people are starting to confront their leaders, their congressional members, when they come and do. I was just watching a group of people shout down their Congress member today. Is that getting covered on our nightly news that our parents and, other people watch? No. Is it getting covered on, certain social media accounts that some people who consult more contextualizing and fact-based information? Yes. And so what needs to happen is that every single time that you see that kind of information that is truthful and fact-based, you have to not just like it, you have to not just go oh, okay, that confirms, that makes me feel a little bit better out of the world. You have to send that to every single person you know. You have to shout it from the rooftops. This is an information war, which means that every opportunity you have to not succumb to it is an opportunity you have to fight for truth and trust and democracy and reality. People need to get angrier, but they voted for Trump because of anger. The left can't out-anger the right. But also only 30% of the United States population voted for Donald Trump, and 29.5% of the US population voted for Kamala Harris. Way more people didn't vote than voted. So there's apathy. There's the idea that we're all entertaining ourselves to death. Sorry, if people can't see what Nick wrote. Ugh, damn it. Why doesn't that? I'm so upset. Nick said people need to get angrier, but they voted for Trump because of anger. The left can't out-anger the right. I don't know if that's true. I'm also curious as to that would never fly. That would never fly, especially in this current climate. Nick said in Australia. Oh, it does come up there. Okay, sorry. It disappears. That's right. I don't know how anything works. Well, let's move on. So one way I'm so sorry about the music. Hold on. It's terrible. I don't even know how to turn this off. Okay. I went to post this. But so one way we fight back, look, this is the kind of thing I'm doing, right? I made this meme. We make memes. We do everything we can to fight back. You're sitting around on the couch, doing nothing, watching really the dumbest content. No offense. If that's what you're doing, just make a friggin' meme based on truth, and you don't have to be doing these analyses based on the reality that my life is, that I put myself in front of this stuff all day. But you can be a media unit. You can be a loci of media yourself. So we're also seeing, again, when we talk about the takeover of social media and the reality that social media is controlled by the people who have agendas that are, maybe not the same as ours. Look, I'm not going to wade into Israel and Palestine. There is obviously a genocide happening in Palestine. There obviously have been horrible things done by Hamas, but this is to show that the people who own our social media have their own agendas. I could have come up with a less polarizing example, I guess. And so then another thing, Nick, that we do is we share healthy information. So my goal, like at the end of these episodes, is I make an article about all of the tabs that you can't see the tabs. I have tons of tabs, and I put them all in an article. And if that sounds like a horrible slog, guess what? It is. It was a horrible slog to get off of the boats at Normandy and get shot dead. You know, that was terrible, but people did it. And I am not equating myself to someone who gave their life for this country, but I'm saying that that is how dire the situation is. And if you can't be bothered, people at home, to do the first thing, to do the littlest thing, right? Like if every single person who was not yet a victim of the information war had spent maybe the total of 3 days worth of their time in 2024 talking to other people, sharing healthy information, I think we might not be in the situation that we're in. I really do. The first thing is that the first rule of the information war is that we have to talk about the information war. Okay, I'm going to try to remember that one. Because this is what's happening all the time. This abject normalization by corporate commercialized for-profit media outlets like Axios, which is run by Republican dudes who's founded Politico. And people think, oh, this is news. This is mainstream news. This has no agenda or bias. Well, the bias is to normalize what's going on. Elon Musk unveils Grok 3 chatbot. Let's see how much it talks about the fact that Elon Musk is a Nazi, how much this article talks about the fact that Elon Musk is lying all the time, like verifiable lies happening all the time. And instead we get sanitizing, whitewashing, normalizing coverage. Oh, he announced Grok. Why is it important? Oh, because AI, blah, blah, blah. Oh, he's like trying to make sure that his company does cool stuff. Oh, he must be a genius. Oh, he's not like a fraudulent dude who's massively over leveraged. Oh, it's competition with DeepSeek. Oh, he's talking about Super Grok. Ah, blah, blah, blah. No context whatsoever. Just this kind of passive normalization happens every single day. Meanwhile, this is reported in Politico of all places. Politico is owned by Axel Springer. The CEO of Axel Springer asked fellow executives to pray for Trump a few years ago. But still, we live in this weird world where there are still journalists working at all of these centrist, commercialized, normalizing, false equivalence creating places. So every once in a while, they say what's really happening. They give it like it is. Trump's America is Putin's ally now. This has happened overnight. This has been the result of years of disinformation and spin being pumped into the brains of Americans to believe that, you know, it was our fault for, expanding NATO that is the result of Vladimir Putin deciding to invade Ukraine and kill countless people, kill his own people, all for his lust for like this Soviet idea of like a full Russia, right? We know that right-wing influencers were paid by Russia to spread disinformation. I mean, it's all right there for all of us to see, and we have to talk about it all the time. The Russia stuff was never a hoax, right? But we've allowed it to just happen while we go get coffee, while we go on vacation, while we go to work, while we do all these things. It's not fun. It's not sexy. I'm not yelling at you. I'm not telling you you did anything wrong. But I'm saying that if you're scared right now, the move is to fight. The move is to fight for truth with every fiber of your being. Fight for truth and reality, which means you have to become a healthier news consumer. You have to care about the quality of your news. And I'm going to help you if you want that. If you don't want that, we're fucked. So positive, uplifting. This is the opposite, Big Nick. This is the opposite of the mega team, the mega church. Okay, so Pete Hegseth is considering firing a slate of military generals and flag officers as early as this week, according to two defense. What do we got? Looking forward to slogging through the links and sending healthy news. Gotta go. Gotta go. That's my fiance. I guess I'm not supposed to reveal that she's in here. Hype in the chat, but she is. You know what? Let's check in on the weather really quick. Oh, okay. This morning it was very poopy. I hope that you were able to stay inside this morning because, I mean, talk about poopy. And then, you know, the day was interesting. We had some dupe in the afternoon. And then overnight tonight, it's going to be pretty stoopy. So look out there, everybody. So Pete Hegseth, right? He's installed as the Secretary of Defense in a massive gift to Vladimir Putin. He is, hell yeah, Nick. Nick says, what if hot tubs cure conservatism? I don't think that that's true. And look, hey, here we go. Hold on. Everybody back up, because it's on. NATE and me, the warrant to the G. We are not here to take issue with conservatism. We at Public Enlightenment have one rule. The first rule of Public Enlightenment, don't be a dick. The next rule of Public Enlightenment is that we know that anytime a powerful person says that journalists are the enemy of the people, they are lying and trying to soften up the public so that they do not believe factual reporting on the corruption and betrayal of that dictator, of that powerful person. Okay, the third rule, I guess, is that we understand that there's always going to be people on the left and there's always going to be people on the right. That's totally fine. That's normal. That's evolutionary biology. Okay? Conservatism is great. It's natural. Ba-da-da is satisfactual. Zippity-doo-dah. It's all good. What we need is conservatives, progressives, anarcho-communists, anarcho-capitalists, libertarians, neoliberals, neoconservatives. What are the dog philosophers of ancient Rome or Greece? I don't remember. Canis. We need everybody to just be dealing with fact-based information, and we need sources of information that provide context while being transparent about their ownership, because ownership equals agenda. So those are the rules here, okay? So we're not trying to cure conservatism. We're trying to cure the information war and the fact that the people around the world who are susceptible to the messages of strongmen and the messages of propaganda, if they are rooted in xenophobia and rooted in othering and rooted in, you know, creating a boogeyman out of someone that you can look down on and distract you from people stealing, you know, your country and your money, that is what we're fighting. There we go. Now, here's the reality, right? Let's go back to this Axios piece. Elon Musk is unveiling Grok 3. And this piece in no way touches on the reality of what's happened. This was written 3 days ago. Says nothing about Elon Musk just making up numbers about fraud without any evidence of fraud, right? Again, a government program that you don't like is not fraud. Like a government program that's like, you know, we can all pick out things that we don't like our country spending money on. Absolutely. And we can be upset about that. But that is not fraud. That is not corruption. So Elon Musk is lying to the American people every single day. And oh, wait, also, by the way, he's a fucking Nazi. And if he's not a Nazi, he's trolling like a 12-year-old boy about Nazism, which again, you wouldn't accept that from anyone in your actual life. So why do you accept it from Elon Musk? So this is an account that Elon Musk follows, followed by Elon Musk. It is just some random ass account. And they post swastikas and other stuff. And that's just one information point about Elon Musk. Now, this is an area of the show. What will we call this? We'll call this the opinion section. I don't know. I'll come up with like a person going like, oh, well, I believe, and we'll call that the opinion section. But so one thing, I like to expose people. Like we should have, regardless of your political views, you should be exposed to a diversity of news and a diversity of viewpoints. And one viewpoint that is out there these days is that what really is happening with this attack on DEI that our mainstream media is running to the presses to carry that water and not explain that DEI is also about accessibility, not explain that DEI is nothing more than giving qualified people who never got opportunities, the opportunities that they never got, that it is being attacked by people who are clearly racist. What are the current issues with the left? What are the current issues with the left? Nick, I'm going to ask you to explain that a little bit more. But so, hey, all of these things are examples of eugenics playbook in action. So lots of people are talking about the idea of resegregation, right? Like, for instance, when Pete Hegseth took over the Secretary of Defense position, one of the first things that he did was say that no longer would the Department of Defense recruit at a black engineering event. There are lots of pieces of literature. There are books that are written about the racist origins of the school voucher movement. That really the school voucher movement is a way to resegregate our schools and society. And so this is, I think, an interesting perspective because this is what is happening. And this person is framing that as this being part of a eugenics playbook. You normalize epidemic diseases. You remove proven drug therapies from the market. You claim disabled people can work out to restore their health. You institutionalize people in health camps. That's a Robert F. Kennedy idea. You cut back SNAP. You target IEPs and disability service coordinators. You refuse to track disease outbreaks. You fire healthcare professionals. You claim some disabilities should be eradicated, like autism. You cut clinical trial research that's already in progress, right? I just think that's an interesting perspective. Democrats, left, progressives, the other side of conservatism. So you say, what are the current issues? Do you mean like, what are the gripes against them? Or do you mean, what do you mean? And also let's hear from our other viewers, not Nick, please keep talking, but do the other people who are watching have anything to say? And yes, Modelo, if you believe in truth and facts and context and are biased towards democracy, you can endorse me. Here we go. You may be aware of the reality that Donald Trump and his officials are pushing to have Romania go easy on Andrew Tate. And I mean, in this country, people are proven innocent until proven guilty. He has been accused of human trafficking and sex crimes. Doesn't seem like a great guy in general, but that is not evidence of guilt. However, what we do have evidence of is that he is a horrific anti-Semite. How many of the Jewish Americans who support Donald Trump are aware of this context? In the information war that's being waged against them, are they being told that Andrew Tate is a good guy? Are they being told neutral things about Andrew Tate? Are they being told neutral things about Donald Trump's obvious affinity for Andrew Tate? When Donald Trump is treated as normal by our mainstream media, are we supposed to accept that and not speak back against it and not raise a ruckus and not take our money and our subscription dollars and put that money towards journalism that is reporting in the public interest? Journalism that isn't treating Donald Trump like a normal person when he is obviously anything but, when he is obviously on board with horrific anti-Semitism that treat Elon Musk as just a normal dude in the midst of Elon Musk stealing our country from us. I think it's time for again, let's go back. This is an account that Elon Musk follows. This is what it posts. It posts swastikas. What's this one? It says, yeah, that's why it's the religion of third world 60 IQ inbreds. Oh, okay, great. Elon Musk is not well, and yet he's covered like a tech whiz. He's not well. Are Americans getting the context? So much social media scrolling for truth. Are Americans getting the context that the deportations they are rooting for are already leading to really disgusting situations? Are they understanding that the ICE agency is and the Department of Homeland Security are juicing the numbers? And in fact, they went back and they altered old press releases to make it look like they were current and that they are arresting and apprehending and deporting more people. Are Americans getting the context that we are deporting nationals of different countries to Panama and they're not getting another flight out? We are literally taking people and moving them to prison in a third country. That's treating human beings like they are toxic waste. Now, there we go. That's something where, like, you could be a conservative and you could be like, yeah, I know about that. And I'm fucking the hell yeah. And if that's your position, that's your position. If you are aware of the facts and that's your position, so be it. We can have a conversation about what we each think about that and our capacity for love and empathy. And if that matters when you are a citizen of a country who wants it to only have legal citizens in it, fine. Okay, cool. But are you aware of these facts? Are you seeing these facts? Just some perspective, Americans do not understand the incredible crisis consuming all components of their government at once. Thousands of jobs lost, projects on hold, desks unmanned, services stopped, basic safety neglected, total chaos. Stuff is going to start breaking soon. This is just, say facts means facts. Say facts means facts. Say facts means facts. Say facts means facts. Bum 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 bum. I say facts. Is that you asking me to do an Australian accent, Nick? Say facts means facts, mate. Pretty friggin' good. Say facts means facts. I don't know what that means, Nick. Hope you had a wonderful day, by the way. I'm sure it's the morning there, or maybe it's midday. I'm going to include these in the article. These pieces here wrote about how easy it is to claim you save taxpayers billions when you just make shit up. Arvo, it's 2:30. Arvo. Hell yeah to this Australian slang. Arvo. I'm having a great Arvo, Arvo, mate. It's 2:30. I just sound like someone from Baltimore. It's 2:30, mate. It's 2:30, dude. Let's go, O's. Okay, wrote about how easy it is to claim you save taxpayers millions when you just make it up, but also how this is like Twitter files all over again. Yes, disinformation campaign about disinformation. Part of the information war was to make up that the government under Joe Biden had established a censorship regime based on cherry-picked and extremely flimsy and trumped-up evidence. You may remember Mark Zuckerberg being on the Joe Rogan show and saying that a Biden official called and yelled at them, and Zuckerberg implied that he yelled at them because they weren't like censoring enough speech. But that particular anecdote, which Zuckerberg did not contextualize, referred to Joe Biden's like Instagram profile being down or people not being able to interact with it, which like when you are the government representative, I guess, you know, chiefs of staff can get pissed off when communication isn't functioning. It had nothing to do with a censorship regime or anything like that. This one, oh, hell yeah, we can do another Elon Musk wellness check. Okay, Elon Musk loses it after astronaut dares call out his lie. Again, the point of me showing this to you is, oh, there's that clickbait again. Interesting. The point, hell yeah, are you joking? Wait, hold on. Nick, I need to know my audience. Like, we can't ignore Elon Musk, but is it too much Musk for you? Is my Musk too strong? Is my Musk too potent for you? Is my Musk overwhelming the senses? Look, we got to do it. We got to fight back against these ghouls. And I say ghouls with empathy because obviously Elon Musk, hell yeah, dog. Well, look, it's time for... Elon Musk is not well, and our mainstream media in America continues to treat him as a normal person. He is not a normal person. He is lying to America every day. Imagine if George Soros was in the Oval Office lying to America about finding fraud without providing any evidence of fraud, by just stating different things that are both untrue or different things that are just like government approved spending that you may not like, but is not evidence of fraud. And if George Soros was doing that from the Oval Office, I'm sure our mainstream media would be treating it a little bit differently. And also, George Soros isn't a Nazi. And also, George Soros doesn't make fun of blind people who appear before Congress if they criticize him, which just happened the other day. And also, Elon Musk is calling an astronaut a R word. I'll just say R word and I'll highlight it for you. Elon Musk went straight to the slurs after being called out yet again for saying that astronauts have been stranded in the International Space Station by the Biden administration for political reasons. What a lie, said a Danish astronaut, and from someone who complains about lack of honesty from the mainstream media. Musk exploded. You are fully retarded. SpaceX could have brought them back several months ago. I offered this directly. And it turns out, guess what? Elon Musk is lying. And the astronauts are telling you that he's lying. And this is Elon Musk, who is treated normally by our press. When you and your boomer parents tuned into Maureen O'Donnell tonight, did they talk about how Elon Musk is a Nazi and how he is calling people retards and how he is making fun of blind people and how he is pushing anti-Semitism and racism every single day and more lies on his social media? Elon Musk is not well. And the combined weight of our commercialized system for informing the public is still perpetuating the myth that he is well. Hell yeah. I mean, I'm never going to get tired of that. Further, Elon Musk doesn't know how the Constitution works. Further, America, MAGA, I'm talking to you. Trump and the Republicans want to increase your bank overdraft fees. If you look at this and you don't believe it, it is because Donald Trump has told you for years not to trust the press, because democracy only works when there's trust and when there's journalism. The fourth estate is essential bedrock of democracy. This is true. You're getting screwed. I got to create a cool segment thing to play right after that. This is true. You're getting screwed. Maybe we'll call it that. I'm writing that down. What did you say? What are you saying, Nick? Best liar on earth gets access to the White House after lying to get there. Yo, now that's a headline, dog. All right, let's fly through this. I'm so grateful for everyone who's here. If you are also here, say something in the chat. We want to know who you are, where you're from. These are the consequences of the coup. Coup consequences. MAGA. 10% of our National Science Foundation is going out the window. These are the people who find cures for our diseases and who find cures and solutions to our problems. We are getting rid of them because Elon Musk is lying to you so that he can find opportunities like SpaceX taking over FAA functions, like getting rid of all of the regulators who have been coming after his companies. This is just a self-enrichment scam by Elon Musk. Trump's cuts to the federal wildlife crews could have scary consequences. We are cutting our federal fire wildlife crews. Meanwhile, everyone in your world, MAGA, is getting very upset when there's a natural disaster, and they're getting upset with FEMA because you're being fed disinformation about FEMA and why aren't they doing more stuff and how did they not have the water? And Trump, for some reason, well, propaganda, he opened the water. I opened the water, I let it go, and that just wasted water. They had plenty of water. A municipal system is not designed. If you're a MAGA person, you saw Elon Musk get debunked by a fire person literally to his face in that video. And we need you to just get fact-based information and believe it, guys. A coalition of congressional Republicans from the New York area rebuked President Trump for cuts to a federal program that administers aid to emergency workers and others suffering from toxins related to the terrorist attacks of September 11th. MAGA, it's not about fraud, waste, and abuse. The fraud, waste, and abuse is being perpetuated upon you and everyone else that you know and don't know. Everyone you love and everyone you don't love is all getting screwed and betrayed by Donald Trump and Elon Musk. God weighing in, God entering the chat saying, imagine being rich enough to do anything you want and choosing to take food and medicine from starving children to give yourself even more money. God is hip. I would ask, why is God allowing Elon Musk to do this? I also would like to add to this, imagine being rich enough to do anything you want and being friends with Vladimir Putin. I said this on Monday's program. If Vladimir Putin called me, this is what I would do. I would say, hello, and then I would hang up. And then he'd probably send someone to put polonium in my tea. That's who Elon Musk is hanging out with. But again, Axios just wants to tell you that he unveiled Grok 3 and not tell you anything about him being an unwell Nazi who's friends with Vladimir Putin. Thank you. Yeah, that's it. You get so rich in this life that you just got to meet Vladimir Putin. That's how it goes. Now, check this out, everybody. The city of Clarksdale, Mississippi, got a court order directing a newspaper to delete an editorial. Hey, all you free speech absolutists out there. How do you feel about that one? Congestion pricing is dead. Manhattan and all of New York is saved. Long live the king. Donald Trump refers to himself as a king. And this is how Donald Trump refers to himself as a king. And this is how the failing New York Times covered it. Long live the king. Trump likens himself to royalty on Truth Social. Oh, the stupid chat box. Here we go. Check this out, everybody. Boom. Some of his policy moves have rested on a far more expansive legal therapy known as the unitary executive theory of presidential power. The president seems to be suggesting that he is entitled to break them if his motive is to save the country. Oh, he seems to be suggesting that when he said also the other day that he who saves his country breaks no law, invoking Napoleon Bonaparte and mass Norwegian murderer Anders Breivik, which is a tantamount to saying, please commit violence on my behalf. If you commit violence to save your country, you have not broken any law. Firing up extremists as he torpedoes the FBI and turns the FBI into a place where they will no longer look for and bring to trial extremists who want to commit violence. A fondness for regal themes was apparent. I mean, please immediately cancel your subscription to the New York Times and go to mediaanddemocracyproject.org and find a journalism organization, a newsroom that is reporting in the public interest, and give them your money instead of the New York Times. We cannot be abiding this from the New York Times. We cannot be abiding this from any of our sources of information. Please. I beg of you, please. Obviously, we're trying this out, but it's late. I had a martini at like 5, which was a huge mistake. Indiscriminate mass layoffs by Elon Musk are ravaging key programs, depriving our people of nuclear safety inspectors, air traffic controllers, and food safety inspectors. These cuts crush democracy and devastate the livelihood of tens of thousands of public servants. It's true. This is a great piece. We'll talk about it another time. I'll put it in the article that I write about all of this contextualizing information, but this is about young people and how they've been pulled to the right in the information war. It's called Wake Up to Politics, which is everyone's dream. And then here we go. We got Teen Vogue coming into the chat. Young people are fed up with Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. If only that were so. We're going to read that for some more contextualizing information. We've got political scientists, 750 of them, signing on to a letter saying that this is an urgent concern. These threats to the basic design of our government. MAGA, are you pumped about the $160 that you're not going to get? Sorry, we love you. We just want you to get fact-based sources of information. I want to tell you about this. This is Disinfo Detox. I know this guy, Nolan. We have corresponded. He's talking here about media with this guy who the only thing I'll say about him is he's an interesting looking guy. And then I forgot I even wanted to talk about this, but y'all, Donald Trump is the most corrupt person currently alive. Truly. It's indisputable. It's indisputable. And when we talk about an information war, the reason why 30% of our country loves Donald Trump is because they have been victims of an information war that has been waged against them. Because here at the Public Enlightenment Show, we enlighten the public by providing the context we need to understand our news. So here is how the news of Donald Trump's once in a millennium grift is covered by the New York Times. Here we go. Here is the news of how Donald Trump's once in a millennia corruption, something that is next level in terms of presidential corruption. Here is how the New York Times covers that. Trump's crypto venture divides the industry he aims to support. The president's promotion of a speculative digital coin left some crypto investors. The dude got billions of dollars anonymously as he was about to enter the White House. People were able to do what this man
that Trump coin
describes.
is the equivalent of issuing the account number for a Swiss bank account, telling foreign adversaries they can deposit funds into that account anonymously, but then come and show him the receipts privately to prove that they have so done. It is the most brazen act of corruption of the modern presidency. And if you don't think that the Chinese and the Saudis and the Turks and the Qataris are buying some of that coin, I think people are deeply naive. That Trump coin is the equivalent.
Someone thinks you're deeply naive, MAGA. And I don't think you're deeply naive. I think you've been told by a strongman to not believe the evidence of your eyes and ears when it is reported to you by people whose job is to contextualize information after they have dug and gotten the facts. However, the other problem is you may be naive by proxy because our paragons of journalism in this country are not describing what is going on with anywhere near the level of context needed. Donald Trump has a giant bribery bucket sitting outside of the White House in the form of his crypto coin. And this is how the best journalism in the country, which people want to say is liberal, there's no such thing as the liberal media. Here's example 9 million billion trillion right here. The liberal media, I guess, we just need this to be like talking about the corruption that it is. A gimmick that undermined the industry's credibility. It is a grift that is undermining America's sovereignty. Thank you very much. Y'all, I want to thank you so much for being here tonight. We've had such a good time. I want you to tell people about the Public Enlightenment Show. I want you to go to YouTube, to Twitch, to TikTok, to Instagram, and to Blue Sky, and to find me there. I'll be burping every one of those places. Go to publicenlightenment.com. where you can read about healthy information. You can get contextualizing information like we give you on the Public Enlightenment Show. You can share it with your MAGA dad, your MAGA mom, your MAGA son, your MAGA daughter, your MAGA uncle, your MAGA aunt, your MAGA niece, your MAGA nephew, your MAGA neighbor, your MAGA coworker. We are in an information war, and we have to fight back, because if you don't fight like hell in the information war, you are honestly, we're basically already there towards losing our country. So I love you, you love me. We're a happy, though concerned family. Here's to healthier information. Go to publicenlightenment.com where you can see the combined links and articles of this entire program. Oh, why did I do that? That was such a good outro. I'll see some of you tomorrow morning for the Mega Church of Joy at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, Standard American. Bye-bye. I need outro music, don't I?